Dungeon elevator. Welcome back to another Bit Legend video, fellas. So Patch is here and we have new content. We have a new game mode. So heads up for a bunch of new videos. I'm going to, of course, cover tower as much as I possibly can until you guys want me to stop covering tower, because you know how I do. I put out usually too many videos, but this seems to be really cool. This will be my first actual attempt in the tower. We're going to try some weird stuff. We're going to do some tanky things and just kind of see how it goes. First things first, if you want to actually get to this content, you need to touch the navigation button in the bottom right corner of your screen. And then you scroll down to Dungeon Elevator. You click that button and it'll walk you right there. We're already there. So this is only accessible in World 2. If you're in World 1, it's going to ask you to go to World 2. If you're in World 2, it'll walk you right here. And if you haven't checked out World 2, it's pretty cool. I wonder if they updated the art, or maybe I just never walked around and never noticed this, but it is a little bit interesting that the tower is here, but the NPC is here. Whatever. He has a little Eiffel Tower on his head. You click on him, and there you go. So navigation button. When they first were suggesting the navigation button, I was actually quite against it. I don't think players would like to have to walk around and zone from World 1 to 2 and so on to do stuff. I think you should be able to do that, but you should also have the option just to click on it through the user interface. But the user interface is getting messy, and they wanted to have more of an RPG feel, so whatever. Personally, I will always vote for something that requires less loading screens. For example, if I wanted to go do refining, because refining was changed in this patch, I'd have to go back to World 1 and do it. Whatever. Let's focus on the tower. Let's focus on the tower, because I've already had my rant on that. But hey, not a big deal. You'll also notice the Destiny items are in the game. You can get them from the raid shop. If you want to use raid tokens, you can buy them in the boxes, and you can drop them here. So let's jump on in. You have to clear everything before you can go on through, and you get this currency. I believe you get 5 per day, and you can purchase more. I think you can only hold 10 at a time, because if I click the little plus button at the top, it says limit exceeded. So we shall see. I have 5 from last night, 5 from this morning's reset. I didn't buy any. I probably will in the future. We'll see how it goes. And here we go. So if you use a minion, you cannot use the minion again until the next day. Same thing for friends, and you can only use friends and guildies on certain levels, I'm told. If you lose, you can use them again, though, but you do lose your ticket. I should probably look at my build. I actually want to see if I can do Ricky solo, so I want to see how that's going to go. So let me change my build real quick. I should probably put on the absorb accessory as well. Let's see how messed up my stats will be with the absorb. Absorb is just so survivable. The reason why we stopped using, you know what, I'll go back. The reason why we stopped using absorb, a lot of top tier tanks that had the ability were taking off absorb, dodge, and reflect is because it won't proc your pet. And I am trying to do this with the Ricky, and I need to get hit, and I need to proc the Ricky for that to work. Let me just check my bonuses. Everything's good. With a couple more amp rolls, I can get damage mitt to capped out at 70%, but that's beyond this video. All my stuff is plus 15 if you haven't seen me before. I'll talk about refining in future videos, but there you go. Pretty long preamble. Let's actually get into some content. I do want to solo, however, I don't want to risk wasting a ticket, so I'm going to put in some trash minions in here. Jessica, and so on. Now keep in mind, if you have a decent roster of minions, you can only do like 5 attacks per day unless you're buying more tickets. So you don't have to put in completely bottom tier minions. I'm going to put in some weird stuff right now just because I feel like it. Ace has a heal. We're just putting in some really random stuff. I just want to get a little taste of they've changed all the names since I've last used these minions, so I don't know what's what. I just want to get a little taste of the difficulty level. And once we're comfy there. We can just do whatever. So, bunch of team with a bunch of heals. My plan is really just for my tank to get hit and for Ricky to proc kill everything. But let's see how it all goes. I didn't see the debuff. I think there's a debuff like elimination, but we shall see. It is kind of cool. It shows you the total stats of all the guys that we're fighting in here. So we are fighting against, everybody has, 7.5 thousand total stats on the enemies. And then that will continue to scale. Yeah, so getting messages already from people asking me about tower. But honestly, your guess is as good as mine. I'm told that the highest level of tower is 100. That will most likely go up in the future, so stay tuned for more updates on that. Currently, since there's a limit on how many tickets that you can use per day, if you saw in the intro, Gibby is up to level 28 right now, and I think 15 per day is the highest that you can do. So either he's holding 2 tickets or maybe he lost a reflect. We'll just kind of see how it goes. If it's super easy, I might actually skip some levels and then do a video at like 5 and 6 and all the skull levels, and we'll kind of see how it goes. I think the levels with the skull next to them, they're like extra boss levels, and I think those are the ones where you can use your friends and your guildies. So there you go. And I think Vuk has done 1 through 5 solo, but he's got a heal weapon, I think. No, he's got the leech skill on Thunder Fury. That's what it is. I could probably do the same thing on the tank. It's kind of what I'm thinking about doing it solo. Maybe I'll show level 2 at solo based on how easy this is. And I think the thing is with Vuk, he's offensive. He's going to do more damage, but he's going to be able to attack so fast that I think he can leech heal himself sufficiently, whereas I might not be able to. So who knows? I'll just kind of pay attention here and see how much damage I'm really taking, which is not a lot. The other thing is, if I go in here solo with the tank, all the attacks will have to go to me, so that might actually speed this up quite a bit. Other things, they have updated some of the talents in the classes. Not so much the talents, but more the prerequisite lines. I've been campaigning for those to get removed for a long time. I think it was very clunky and not player-friendly to have prerequisite lines, which means I need to get talent A before talent B, but to also have prerequisite spending tiers, so I have to spend 40 points before I can get the 50 talent. It didn't make a lot of sense to have both of those at the same time. So it's nice to see that cleaned up a little bit. I do think that the talent lines, they're in a pretty good spot. There's a couple things that could be cleaned up. There's some edgy talents like the Trojan that still needs to have a little bit of rework, get looked at, so on and so forth. But not too bad, honestly. Not anything too shabby. We're seeing a lot of progress there. And of course, we're just getting so much content. Things have slowed down just a little bit, but we're still getting new game modes. And when I say things have slowed down, that's only based on the pace of these developers. We're still getting twice as much content as any other mobile game I've ever played. So obviously no complaints there. And actually, I think the pace that we're getting stuff now is actually quite nice. If stuff comes out too fast, players feel overwhelmed. If stuff comes out too slow, people get bored. So you want to find that sweet spot right in the middle, and pretty much where we are. So hopefully we're wrapping this up. Now, Wormhole is interesting. I think each level has a specific boss. So if I have Wormhole on level 1, I think you guys are going to have Wormhole on level 1 as well. I don't think it's randomized like Elimination Mode, for example. And Wormhole is, I believe he's got 18% Reflect. So the biggest barrier and the biggest complaints that we're hearing from DPS players is the same thing we always hear, is that Reflect is the bane of their existence. And it's understandable. It's a tough argument with Reflect. DPS players will complain that they're getting reflected for 5,000 damage, 500,000 damage. However, they will never complain about the fact that they can do 500,000 damage. It's only that when it gets reflected. But hey, what are you going to do? The damage bonuses in this game are so high that you could respec your attack stat down to 100, and I think you would probably still die to reflect. And the other thing is, if you do that, if you do a build like that where your attack stat is super low, and here's the boss fight, when your attack stat is super low, the problem is that, let's say you have like 100 attack stat and 5,000 speed, you're going to have so many turns that all your battles are going to take forever. If you're doing it manual, it's going to drive you crazy. If you're doing it auto, you're just going to double the raid time from having so much there. But anywho, speaking of reflect, we are fighting the boy himself. Speaking about minions and reflect and all that, as far as PvP goes, I do think there is a problem with reflect, and I actually think the main problem with reflect is the fact that there are 3 very easy to get, easy to stable up epic reflect tanks. I think that's the main issue, and that makes it possible. You can run into a team that has 5 reflectors, and it's super easy to get, super easy to do. I think if they actually changed those epic reflect tanks to anything other than reflect, I think that would help PvP a ton. That way, if you still want reflect, you can get Bug Eye, the guy that, or Wormhole is his name now. That's the guy that we just fought. If you still want a reflect tank, you can still get them. It's gonna be more difficult for you, but you have to actually put some effort in to get it. And then if you're a tank, it's easy to identify tanks in PvP and to avoid them, which is one thing. But the thing is, if you nerf reflect on tanks, you've basically killed tanks' only chance to win PvP right now. So, something to think about. Anywho, the rifle, I'm going to show the skills on this thing. Let me lock it. Remember that, see, if you look at these total stats, the base stats is super, super low because the Destiny stats are low from level 1 and they increase as you go up. And I believe we're trying to estimate how much we're going to raids, and we're going to the raid store. We're trying to estimate how much total stats is on the raid 9 Destiny chest. And if you +4 this thing, remember the raid 8 and the raid 9 Destiny chest, they have different total stats. If you completely upgrade +4 a raid 9 Destiny piece, it has more total stats than a refined 16 guild boss item. So think about that. A guild boss set piece refined to +16 has less total stats than a raid 9 Destiny chest. We don't know if this is a bug and the raid 9 chest is currently dropping max Destiny level, or maybe it's intended. Some people have tried to project some numbers based on drops and their tower tier, and they have come up with the idea that I think raid 9 Destiny is dropping Destiny pieces equivalent to tower level 30, but we don't know. We don't know, and we're trying to figure it out. But honestly, I'm not thrilled that they've added a higher total stats gear to the game. No guild right now is completely decked out in guild boss items. Unity is super, super close. I think in 1 to 2 weeks, we'll have everything wrapped up except for the Slayer necklaces. But for the game to come out with new gear that's a higher total stat tier than the guild boss gear doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I'm not complaining about it. It's kind of hard to really make a good critique if you haven't seen the whole picture. So I'm kind of waiting for everything else to be unfolded before I start to really make a call on that. And Destiny is going to be something that's going to take players a long time to get. You're going to want to clear towers as high as you can to get the highest total stats. You're going to want to get really good bonuses. So every time you upgrade a Destiny piece, it will give you more bonuses. So you can get between 4 and 8 bonuses. So you can get 2 bonuses every time you upgrade it. And the chance of getting good bonuses, or the bonuses that you want, getting all 8 is pretty crazy. The chance of getting 4 bonuses that you want is pretty crazy. However, if you look at existing guild boss gear, a lot of the item bonuses on this stuff is completely horrible. Completely horrible. If they didn't add the 5-piece defender bonus on this set, I would have actually scrapped the entire set and I would have used Guild Boss 5 mythic items, just because the bonuses are so horrible. 2% dodge. I'm actively trying to remove dodge because my pet won't proc, because when you dodge and pet procs, and also the defender proc itself won't happen if you dodge, which is a mechanic that I don't really agree with. Healed effect, don't care. 3% hit points, that could not be there and I never notice. 3% reflect is nice. It's one of the few items for tanks that still has reflect on it. 1.5% absorb, okay, that's kind of nice. However, I'm still trying to remove absorb from all my gear. Hit points, block, elemental resistance. This is good, but remember, this necklace was buffed because it used to be like 3% hit points, and it was so low that it had to get buffed because it was so bad originally. And then hit points, 3%, that's nothing. 9% block, okay, all right. And then the bonuses here, hit point percent bonuses is actually starting to be pretty nice now. I think the reason that hit point percent bonuses is nice is because 1 stamina gives you 8 hit points when 1 stamina really should be giving you 10 hit points. But whatever, and then more block. So honestly, the only good thing about the Defender set is really the 5-piece bonus. If you compare it to items that we now have in the game, Guild Boss 5 items, potential future possible Destiny items that have good rolls on them, which is going to be really difficult to get. If you have any idea of how difficult it's going to be to get good rolls on Destiny, just remember how difficult it was to get good amplifiers and good chips. So just keep that in mind. I know it sounds a little bit pessimistic, but I like to look at all different angles. I'm fairly excited for the Destiny set. I do think they need to add a bonus to the Destiny set where when you get hit, a teammate gets 3 SP. That way tanks can actually use Destiny gear, because right now, even if Destiny has higher total stats and potential higher bonuses, tanks should not use Destiny because the Defender 5-piece is so good. Your raid team needs it. Your guild will need it. If your guild ever does Guild Boss 5, as a tank, you just got to take a knee and you got to use the Defender set. You got to do it. You're going to help your team so much more than you're going to help yourself. But if they add the SP bonus to the gear, and I'm just saying 3 SP, that way if you get 3 pieces that have that SP proc, it'll equal the Defender gear. It'll be super insanely hard to get because you'll need to get high tier pieces. You need to get all the right slots. You need to get the SP proc plus the other bonuses that I'm figure crafting to make it work. So that would be the only way that would get me to swap. And the other thing is, like I said, a Destiny plus 0 from the Raid 9 box is more total stats than a plus 16 Guild Boss piece. So why would I continue to refine my my Defender pieces? Doesn't make sense. It feels like I'd be investing in a dead set. So who knows? I'm putting a lot of thought into this. We'll see how it goes. I sound pessimistic, but I'm really looking forward to a lot of this stuff. I think, as always, changes are going to come, improvements are going to come. We should be very optimistic about this kind of stuff, but it's very important to put our criticisms out there and our concerns. As far as me, what I'll probably do is whenever we figure out how to get these safety refining stones, I will probably upgrade the heck out of my Thunder Fury, because I don't think Thunder Fury is going to get replaced anytime soon. Thunder Fury will always have more total stats than a Destiny piece. We know that one. So I know that Thunder Fury is going to be future-proofed for me, and I can continue to use it. But the Defender pieces, if I'm able to replace the SP proc, or maybe a new class comes out, or they add this as a talent or something, if they add it as a talent, I'll do both, honestly. I'd wear the Defender piece and the talent, so they probably wouldn't do that. Because that'd be crazy. But anywho, if they add it to gear, then you'll have my interest there, and we'll see what happens with total stats. But for now, we're chilling. Hopefully I didn't just mess up the video, but anywho, for now we're chilling. Stay tuned for future videos and whatnot. There'll be a little bit less rambling, a little bit more doing the tower. I'm going to try to do the next one solo, so stay tuned for that. As always, appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next video.